Alright guys, we are back with another tier list. I haven't done a tier list in a while. I have done a tier list with Sprockets and Alesso for competitive tier list, but I wanted to make a tier list from the Urshifu release and Soloq as well. And we're beginning with the with Venusaur. So like Venusaur is really interesting as well because Venusaur got a lot of buffs. He got special defense, and HP, and I think Venusaur and Soloq is pretty good, but it doesn't really have a lot of impact if he is not getting level 5, level 7, and level 11 and level 13. If you play Paladins, Venusaur, and with Giga Drain, you have a lot of sustainability and your ultimate does a lot of damage as well. Usually run like Body Barrier, Focus Band, or Amplifier with Venusaur. So I'm gonna put Venusaur in the B tier because I think Venusaur is a pretty solid Pokemon, but I don't think he's the best. Like he's a good Soloq carry in general. Guys, Gengar is also in a really interesting spot. Gengar is a speedster, and I think Gengar is a really good Pokemon in Soloq. Not only can he one-shot people, like a lot of people with 3 meter and Shadow Ball, he can also play Hex and Sludge Bomb. I think Gengar is really strong. He kind of fall off in Soloq, like not really a lot of players are playing it, and I can only see like one trick Gengar's playing it. But when I play Gengar, I think I'm really powerful. I can execute enemies and I'm super strong. I wanna put Gengar in the A tier because I think he's one of the Pokemon that can sweep really fast. Yes, next one is Mr.Mime. I think Mr.Mime is a really good Pokemon in Soloq as well. He's one of the few supports that can carry a Soloq as well. He got nerfed pretty hard. His Power Swap got nerfed. His Confusion, like almost everything on Mime got nerfed. His base stats got nerfed. But in general, I think Mime is still a pretty good Pokemon. Like Mime used to be like S+, S tier with Mew and Dodrio. But I think right now Mime is B+. I don't think Mime is the best Soloq carry, but he's definitely better than Venusaur or other Pokemon. I think Mime is pretty good. B+ is fair for him. I don't think he's as strong as like sweeping the entire team. But if you play it correctly and if you play with your team, it's pretty strong honestly. Snorlax Defender. Like Defenders is pretty rough in Soloq. Like if you play Defender in the Soloq, you rather go like Greedent or Blastoise. They deal a lot of damage and can carry. Because in Soloq it's important that you know what you are capable of with your character. But I still think Snorlax is a pretty solid Pokemon. I'm gonna put Snorlax in the B+, because I think Snorlax is one of the characters that can do a lot of openings for your team. You can, if you play with your team correctly, you can do a lot of stuff, you can catch people. And in general, I think maybe it's not fair. I'm gonna put him in B because putting Venusaur and Snorlax, like putting Snorlax above Venusaur is not fair. Snorlax is a pretty solid Pokemon. Vanillix is also pretty fun, honestly. If you get your crits, you do a ton of damage. The next one is Gardevoir. So Gardevoir is an attacker, and she's one of like, she got a lot of buffs. She got Psychic buff, she got Confusion buff. In general, like ultimate cooldown is now lower. I think Gardevoir is also pretty good. If you get level 5 with Gardevoir, you can secure almost everything on the lane. Like Jungle Gardevoir is also pretty strong. And the fact that you can use Confusion to secure stuff is just insane. I think it's not the best Pokemon. If you are a 1-trick Gardevoir, you can definitely carry a lot of Pokemon. I'm gonna put it in the B+ tier as well. Because I still think if you hit like amazing ultimates, you can carry a lot. And it deals a lot of damage and does a good early game as well. Surprisingly, you can play Gardevoir in the lane as well. Guys, next Pokemon is Absol. I think Absol is in a really interesting spot. He used to be really strong back in the day. I think Absol, I can't really put him in a different tier because Absol is a really good speedster, but a lot of Pokemon are just outshining him. I would put Absol in A tier like a few patches ago, but I think Absol is also in B+. I think Absol can carry really hard a game, and if you play it correctly, it's really strong. But again, like it's a speedster. It's pretty squishy and it can get one-shot pretty easily. So I think it's fair to put him in B+, because he has also carry potential like Gardevoir. Garchomp is in a really interesting spot as well. Like the new item Rapidfirescarf made Garchomp so strong. I'm not the biggest fan of Drinkron, and you can tell me that Drinkron is good, but I think Drinkron is just like it has the leftovers. It needs to get buffed to be considered useful, because you don't get a lot of healing. Like, I would want Mamoswine, Rapidfirescarf, and Scorpions on Garchomp, because I think it's really strong on Garchomp. I think Garchomp's early phase is pretty strong, and if you disrespect Garchomp in Soloq, you can hit pretty hard in lane. So I'm gonna put him in A tier. I'm not gonna put him in S tier because I don't think he has like a lot of carry potential. But he's definitely in A tier because of the new items, Rapidfirescarf, and Garchomp in general. Insane Pokemon and can do a lot of catches and can play in solo lanes as well. You can also play Garchomp in the jungle, which is interesting. So A tier is probably fair. Alright guys, next Pokemon is Lucario. I don't really know about Lucario. Like, Lucario used to be such a good Pokemon. Everyone loved Lucario. Everyone hated Lucario. It used to be such a good carry. And nowadays it just kind of lags. You could play Lucario with E-Speed and Bone Rush, or you can play Lucario with Power Punch and Pop. Lucario has like a lot of different styles. I think Lucario is still a really good Pokemon, and I like to put like Pokemon with secure potential a bit higher in Soloq, because if you secure the Rayquaza, you basically win the game, right? So I think Lucario is not a carry Pokemon, but you can secure the important objectives for the game to carry as well. So I'm gonna put him in B+. Alright guys, next Pokemon is Crustle. I know that there are a few Crustle fans out there, but the ones that play Crustle can dominate really hard. In a Soloq perspective, I think Crustle is a really good Pokemon because you can score a lot of points with it. And if you want Go-Getter and Score Shield, like running Go-Getter and Score Shield in the end game is really important because you can legit just dunk 100 for free. I'm gonna put him in the B tier for now, but I'm gonna explain why. So I think Crustle is one of the Pokemon that can just perma score. It's not really a Pokemon that can swipe, but you could play Crustle with X-Scissor and Shell Smash, and you can do a lot of damage. But I don't think it's that consistent because you need to crit. You need to crit right to do a lot of damage. So I would like to go for a more score-orientated build. I think Crustle is a really good Pokemon. I don't think it's C or D tier because it's a good Pokemon. It has a lot of mobility, and it can score pretty much a lot of things. And the ultimate is also pretty good. It can stun everything. So I'm gonna put it in the B tier. My most played Pokemon, Greninja, an attacker. I think Greninja, I'm gonna put him in the B+ tier for now. I think in Soloq, Greninja is really good. If you play Greninja in Soloq correctly, and you are getting level 9 before any other, then you can carry really hard. After you get level 5, you get Smoke Screen or Double Team, and level 7 you get Shuriken or Surf. You can play both abilities, but I think Surf is more consistent because of the great secure. I would put Greninja, I think Greninja is an A tier as well in Soloq. I know that Greninja is kind of squishy like Absol, but I think if you play Greninja correctly, I mean, not really, like if you play it correctly, you can carry a lot. I feel like Duo Q is easier to carry because you have Blissey and stuff. I wouldn't put Greninja in A tier, I think. I think B+ is fair for Greninja since he's pretty squishy. Like if you have an enemy Slowbro in your enemy team, or you make one mistake, then you are basically just dying. I think B+ is fair for this Pokemon. Next Pokemon is Talonflame. I put Talonflame in my previous tier list in S tier. He's a Speedstar. And I think Talonflame kinda fall off. I made a video with Rapidfirescarf as well on Talonflame. But I think in Soloq perspective, Talonflame is B+. You can play Talonflame as a carry with Rapidfirescarf, Muscle, and Scorpions. Or you can play Score Shield, Ice Cookie, Cloudstone, and play it as a score-oriented Pokemon. And this is what I mean. I think Pokemon that can score are really good. Compared to Crustle, I think Talonflame can carry a bit more with his damage. So I'm going to put him in B+. This Pokemon is the Aronda's Charizard. I haven't seen a lot of Charizard, to be honest. Like, Charizard is one of the Pokemon that is really good in Soloq. I'm going to put Charizard in A tier for now. I think Charizard is the best Aronda out there in solo queue. If you want to win games, I think if you play Charizard correctly, you could carry a game. His ultimate is really strong. He can one-shot Greninja. He can one-shot carries. I'm just not sure, like, Charizard lost his true damage. I don't know why they nerfed Charizard's true damage, but Charizard's true damage was one of the best things that Charizard had. He still does a lot of damage. You just don't really see him, right? I think with the true damage, he should be A. And I think Charizard is also B+. I think Charizard used to be one of the best all-rounders to play solo queue and just carry a game. But I don't think he deserves A because of the nerfs. I'm gonna put Charizard in B+ as well. Coming down to Zeraora, another speedster. I think Zeraora is pretty... I think like Zeraora is like a black horse. I don't think Zeraora is a bad Pokemon. And I don't think Zeraora is a good Pokemon either. Like if you see one tricks with Zeraora, they can carry a game really hard. He also got his ultimate at level 9 now, instead of level 10. You can play Discharge and Volt Switch, you can play Spark Discharge, you can play Wild Charge. You can play a lot of things with Zeraora. Again, I think Zeraora can swipe out Pokemon really fast. And if you play it correctly, you should be able to carry. But if you fall behind in the early game, it's pretty rough to come back. I think it's fair to put Zeraora in B tier. I think Zeraora is a pretty solid Pokemon. It's not the greatest, but I think it's fine. Coming down to the Cinderace. We all love Cinderace. We know the Reddit Cinderace that cannot secure the Rayquaza. We love the name Cinderaces. Cinderace, one of the most played Pokemon in solo queue. An attacker with Rapidfirescarf, Muscle Band, and Scorpions is also pretty strong. I feel like the steal is like with Rapidfirescarf, right? Because Rapidfirescarf made so many Pokemon useful again. I think Cinderace is also pretty good. I think it's like Greninja. You can carry games, you need to get level 7, then you get level 9 and secure objectives. You can swap everyone. But I feel like Cinderace is like a duo queue Pokemon. It's better for duo queue. If you have a duo queue mate, you are a good Cinderace, I think you can carry really hard. But in general, I think Cinderace is a really good Pokemon because it can secure, it can team wipe out, it can secure Rayquaza as well. I think Cinderace is a bit better than Greninja. Like if you play duo queue, but I think Greninja is a bit better than Cinderace solo queue. But I don't think Cinderace is also A tier. Eldegoss. Eldegoss is really strong, guys. Like again, Eldegoss also got a buff. Bonus buff heals more. You can play Muscle Band, you can play Scorpions, you can play Rapidfirescarf. You can go for a more support-oriented build with special specs. You can do a lot of stuff with Eldegoss. Eldegoss is also like one of the few supporters that can really like kind of carry a team fight. Like when I play solo queue and I have Eldegoss in my team, it feels really good. I think Eldegoss is a really good support. I would put it in B+ as well. Cramorant. Cramorant. Why is no one playing you? I barely see him. Cramorant. I think Cramorant is a really good Pokemon. I think Cramorant needs to deserve more love in solo queue. I don't know why no one is playing Cramorant, but I think it's a good Pokemon. You can do a lot of stuff with your ultimate. You can do, you can play Surf and and Dive. You can play a lot of builds with Cramorant. I think Cramorant is one of the Pokemon that is underrated, like Charizard. I put Cramorant in B tier because I don't think Cramorant is that good in solo queue because he doesn't have the best secure. But if you play Cramorant correctly, I think you can do a lot of stuff. Like his ultimate is pretty good. Once you use your ultimate and you have the right angle with the check button as well, you can do like they focus you, but everyone is dying around you. Cramorant is one of the Pokemon that can bait other ultimates, and he can also carry you. It's just like he doesn't have a lot of secure, that's why it's not the greatest Pokemon. So I think Cramorant is in B tier as well. Alright guys, going off one of my favorite Pokemon. I might be biased a bit because I like Blastoise right now. I think Blastoise is in A tier right now. I think Rapidfirescarf made Blastoise so strong, and the Hydro Pump build is super good on Blastoise. He has great early game. You can go jungle with him. You can invade. You can 1v1 Pokemon easily, and you can zone Pokemon easily. You can use eject button ultimate to zone enemies from objectives. You can run with rapid spin and Hydro Pump to CC enemies. You can do a lot of stuff. You can play Blastoise as a defender. You can play Blastoise as an attacker. I think Blastoise is great. I might be biased putting him in A tier, even though all the other Pokemons are pretty good. But I think Blastoise is just underrated. I think Blastoise is underrated in solo queue, and I think Blastoise is just a crazy Pokemon. He gets so much defense and special defense with his level. After he gets Rayquaza Shield, he's almost unstoppable. He can score every time. I think Blastoise is really underrated, and that's why I'm putting him in A tier. Because I think Blastoise is just insanely good right now. Pikachu. I think Pikachu is one of the cringiest Pokemon in the game. Volt Tackle is so annoying, and I hate Pikachu. It has a good early game, and a lot of Pikachus can be really annoying. You can bait carry ultimates, you can one-shot the carries like Greninja and Cinderace, and you can spam your ultimate multiple times in one solo queue game. I think Pikachu is B tier. It doesn't have the best secure, but it can be really annoying. It can use a lot of ultimates. So I think it's fair to put Pikachu in the C tier. I mean B tier. He's a pretty solid Pokemon. He's kind of balanced as well. Might need like a slight buff. But in general, I think Pikachu is fine. Clefable, support. I don't know what's wrong with Clefable. Like, Clefable has a really low win rate. Even though I think Clefable is such a good Pokemon. I think Clefable can be played as support or like defender. Because if you play Follow Me and Draining Kiss, you can defend a lot of things. You can heal your enemies, like you can heal your teammates if they are close to Draining Kiss, and you can do damage. And if you get Hyper Beam or Explosion, you can do a lot of stuff with Clefable. I don't think Clefable is C or B tier, but in the solo queue perspective, I think Clefable is B tier. Because this Pokemon it kind of depends on your team, right? Like either you gamble your ultimate, you get a great ultimate and you carry, or you like play a safe build with Moonlight and Gravity. In general, I think Clefable is a pretty good Pokemon. I don't know why the win rate is so low in solo queue, but I think you can do a lot of stuff with Clefable. I'm gonna put it in the B tier as well, since I think it's pretty. Like, you don't know what you get with your ultimate, right? If you get your right ultimate, you can secure objectives. I think it's a bit inconsistent to be in the B plus tier. Ninetales. I'm not sure. Like, I would put Ninetales in B plus in the competitive perspective or A tier. Because I think Ninetales is really good. But in solo queue, I mean, like, the early game is really good, the mid game is pretty good, but what are you doing in solo queue? Like, what would you do in a team fight when no one is helping you? It doesn't have the best secure, but with Rapidfirescarf, it's just insane. It CCs almost every time. I think it's pretty good in trio queue. I don't think it's B plus in solo queue. I don't really know what Ninetales could do in solo queue to carry a game when no one is helping. So in a solo queue perspective, I think it's B tier. But like competitive perspective, like A or like B plus. But I don't think it doesn't really have like carry potential. I'm gonna put it next to Cramorant. Guys, Wigglytuff. I think Wigglytuff is a pretty good support. It can give you a good shield with your ultimate. You can play Sing and Rollout. You can be annoying, you can invade, you have a good secure in the early game, and Q-Charm is just really good against Speedstars. I think for solo queue it's also B tier, because you cannot really carry alone. It's kind of dependent on the team. I think Wigglytuff is pretty good. Going to Slowbro and as a defender. Slowbro. I think Slowbro is pretty good with Scald and Amnesia, or Scald and Telekinesis. You can also play Surf with Amnesia or Telekinesis. I think Slowbro is a really annoying Pokemon. You don't really want to see it in your solo queue games. A good Slowbro can be really annoying. If you know what you can do with Slowbro, I think Slowbro is really good. If you know what you're capable of, I think you can do a lot of stuff with Slowbro. You can one-shot the you can one-shot the enemies carry. You can zone enemies, and you have a lot of sustainability. I think Slowbro is B+. I think Slowbro is B+. I might be a bit biased right now. It could be B tier as well. But I think if you play Slowbro correctly, like it's like depends with all the other Pokemon as well, right? But Slowbro can use Ultimate against any Pokemon. He can stop Recover Sheet as well. I think Slowbro is B+. Might be wrong, but I think Slowbro is B+ in solo queue. Alright guys, Jevin's favorite Pokemon, I think it's in Unite, Machamp. In my previous tier list, he was kind of mad that I put him a bit lower. I think Machamp is in a pretty good spot. I don't think Machamp is bad. I don't think Machamp is bad either in like solo queue. It has good scaling. It just needs to get level 5, 7, 9. And after it like level 11, level 13, like other Pokemon. But Machamp's ultimate is crazy. And when you play solo queue, it's kinda easier to hit like a lot of people with your ultimate. And you can full swap your team. I think Machamp is great. It has great early game as well. I think Machamp is B+ as well. It's a good Pokemon. You can play Dynamic Punch and Cross Chop. You can play Close Combat. You can also play Submission, which is kinda weird to watch. But honestly, like, this Pokemon is great. It's not bad. You can like easily one-shot the Decidueye or the Pokemon. Blissey. What do we do with Blissey, guys? What do we do with Blissey? So Blissey like another support, right? Another support. Supports are not the best Pokemon in solo queue, but they are supporting you, right? If you have a support in solo queue, it's pretty fun. It heals you, it supports you. I think Blissey is also B. It has a good secure for ultimate. It can carry a game by using ultimate on the carry and do lots of stuff. It can carry alone. I think the old Blissey could have been like B plus or A because Egg Bomb was really strong. But I think it's fair to put the supports on B tier in solo queue. I don't think they are like bad in C or D because if you play them correctly, they have definitely some uses in solo queue. Mamoswine. Mamoswine. What do we do with you? Like Mamoswine is such an annoying Pokemon, guys. Like Rapidfirescarf, Muscle Band. You can even play Attack Rate. Like Mamoswine is just really annoying. A really annoying Pokemon. I think it does a lot of impact. And I might be biased again. But I will put Mamoswine in A tier. It is so annoying. Has great early game. You can do lots of stuff with it. You can push Reguleki in. I think if you play Mamoswine correctly, I think it can carry really hard. Maybe A tier is too much. I think A tier is too much. I think B+ is fair enough. B+ close to A. I think Mamoswine is really good. Rapidfirescarf is just so annoying on Mamoswine. You don't want to play against this Pokemon. It is good against melee characters. I'm not sure. Like B+ close to A. Sylveon. One of the Pokemon I hate in solo queue. Everyone is playing Mystica Fire lately because Mystica Fire got buffed as well. I think Hyper Voice is also fine. Sylveon only needs level 4 to be strong. Sylveon only needs level 4 to be strong. It is really annoying. I think Sylveon is a B+ character because Sylveon doesn't have the best secure. Its ultimate is really defensive for a defensive use. But I think Sylveon is just a really annoying Pokemon to deal with. Like a lot of people are disrespecting how much damage Mystic Fire does. Like it does actually a lot of damage. I think Sylveon is B+. Like I could put it in B tier as well, but I think Sylveon can be really annoying because it gets ultimate at level 8 and it gets its power spec at level 4. I think Sylveon is a good Pokemon in solo queue. It doesn't have the best secure. It's probably like B, close to B+. But I will put it in B+ for now. It's really annoying. Like when I say a Pokemon is annoying, I usually think it's good in solo queue. Guys, Now comes the interesting thing. Greedent. Where do we put Greedent, guys? Where do I put Greedent? What do you think? Is it D tier? Is it C tier? Surprisingly, Greedent has the second highest win rate of the week. Like, I don't know what is happening right now, but in the current meta of Soloq, where everyone is running squishy Pokemon with Rapidfirescarf, I think Greedent is A tier. I think if you play Greedent correctly, it's really good. Like, it's a Soloq perspective, and a lot of Greedents are not good in Soloq, but I think if you play Greedent correctly in Soloq, I think it's A tier as well. I might be biased because I'm a Greedent main, but I feel so powerful when I play Greedent. Like, especially when I play Covet and Belch. Greedent is also one of the Pokemon where you can run a score-orientated build. But I think Greedent is... I might be biased, but I think Greedent is really good. It has good secure. It has sustainability. It has a good early game as well if you play against the right matchup. I'm not sure if A tier is a bit too much, because Greedent is really situational. If you play against a Scissor or like a really tanky comp, it's really annoying and you don't really know what to do. I'm just gonna be biased and put Greedent A tier. Decidueye. I think Decidueye is a really good Pokemon as well in Soloq, because Decidueye is a Pokemon that needs to get stacks. You can play Spirit Check and you can play Razor Leaf. I don't think Razor Leaf is that good in Soloq. I think it's better in Duo Q. I think Decidueye with Spirit Check and Shadow Sneak is pretty good. It's a really squishy Pokemon, but it has good secure and it can dominate the game really hard as well. Because it's pretty squishy, I'm gonna put it like Cinderace, Greninja, Decidueye. I think all these Pokemon are really great in Soloq. It's a bit rough because a lot of people are playing it in the lane because the jungle is taken over by other Pokemon like Gengar. But I think you can easily get level 7 on Decidueye, get a ton of stacks, and do a ton of damage as well. Denied. I think Denied is one of the all-rounders that is pretty good, honestly. Like, it's not bad. It's not bad, it's not good in Soloq. But it's not, like, I think it's great. I think it's fine. Like, you can play Denied with Outrage and Dragon Dance. You can play it with Hyper Beam and Dragon Dance. It has good secure potential. I would put Denied in B tier, but because Denied has a really good secure, and I think it has a lot of uses in Soloq, and with Rapidfirescarf again, I think it's really good. I think it's decent. Maybe not the highest B+ tier. I think it's pretty good in Soloq. Good secure as well. Serena. I think Serena is A tier Pokemon. I might be wrong, but I think Serena is a really strong Pokemon in Soloq. You can get easily your level 6, you can get your stacks, you can play it in the jungle or top lane, and you can dominate games really hard on Serena. If you play Serena like, if you play Serena almost pixel perfect, I think a lot of players will just give up. Serena is one of the Pokemons, you can get level 6, you can legit dive the enemies. If the enemies are below, like level below you, you can just dive them, perma dive them, and just perma sit on them. I think Serena is really strong. It needs to get its power spike level 6, but I think Serena is one of the Pokemon that is really strong in Soloq. It doesn't have a secure, it doesn't have the best secure, but it can one-shot the enemy, like it can one-shot the carry, the enemy jungle, and it can be really annoying. I think Serena is a good Pokemon. I'm gonna put it in the ATF as well. Trevenant. I barely played Trevenant in Soloq, and I barely played Trevenant at all. But I think Trevenant is a really annoying Pokemon. I think Trevenant has good uses and Soloq as well. Like, people disrespect, like if people disrespect Trevenant, they will just die. It's easy to stack with Trevenant in Soloq as well. Like in general, it's pretty easy to stack in Soloq. I would put Trevenant in B tier, but I think Trevenant also deserves the B+ tier because Trevenant is one of the Pokemon that can do like big horn leashes, right? Like, it can do big openings. It has a good early game. Once it gets level 5, it can stomp a lane. And it can be really annoying as well. Like, everyone is playing squishy Pokemon, so I think Trevenant is fine. But I'm not sure, like, B+, B. I think Trevenant is B. Probably not B+. I'm gonna put it for B+ for now. I think Dragonite is a good Pokemon. I can do a lot of stuff. I can snowball really hard early game. Slash. I think Slash is just a B+ Pokemon. It is a good all-rounder. It can get this level, it can get stacks as well. And if you get level 7, you're really powerful. You have a good secure. And if you play Slash correctly, I think it's fine. I wouldn't put Slash in A tier, because I think, like every time I play Slash in solo queue, I'm just getting run down. Like no one is helping. It's hard to disengage. Slash is B+. I think it's a fine Pokemon. You can play Shadow Claw, and you can even play like Iron Head, honestly. Like Iron Head, Shadow Claw, Iron, like Sacred Sword, White Guard is honestly not that bad in solo queue. Like in a competitive perspective, it might be flaw, but in solo queue, it's pretty fine, honestly. Hoopa. I'm not sure about Hoopa, honestly, guys. Like Hoopa is the Pokemon that's barely getting picked. It has the lowest pick rate in the game. And I'm not seeing much with Hoopa. Like I might be like people could maybe see Hoopa as C or B tier or B+, but I think Hoopa is a fair Pokemon. Hoopa can get level 4, it can support your team really well. It can use ultimate to reposition your team. I think Hoopa is fine. With X attack, Muscle Band, and Rapidfirescarf, for example, and Scope Lens, again Rapidfirescarf, you can do a lot of stuff in the early game. I think Pokemon that can do a lot of stuff in the early game are not that bad. It can also use portals. It can support your carrier. I think Hoopa is fine. I don't think Hoopa is that bad. I'm not sure why no one is picking Hoopa though. It does have really low pick rate. Like the lowest pick rate. Hoopa is in a really bad spot. Like Hoopa is barely getting played since the new map released. Ludon, guys. Everyone hates this Pokemon. If you see it in your team, if you see it in the enemy team, you know the Rayquaza is getting flipped. Ludon. Is Ludon good in solo queue? Yes and no. I think Ludon is one of the most annoying Pokemon in solo queue. And surprisingly also like one of the Pokemons where you can win the most. The Ludon is just really annoying. Like the new item Rapidfirescarf again makes Ludon pretty good. I think I would put, like, I might be wrong again, but I think Ludon is A tier. I think Ludon is one of the most annoying Pokemon in solo queue. I think it's really strong. I think people are focusing it. Is it A tier? Guys, I'm gonna put Ludon in A tier. I might be wrong, but I think Ludon is just really insane. It has a high win rate as well, right, in solo queue. Like, Ludon is just disgusting. You can play it in the lane, you can play it in jungle, you can play Dragon Pulse. I'm gonna put Ludon in A tier. Azumarill. I think Azumarill is definitely an A tier pick. I think Azumarill is a really good Pokemon in solo queue. It doesn't have the best secure, but it has a great early game. And again, you can stack easier in solo queue. Once you get 3 stacks, you can stomp your enemies pretty hard. You can get like level 8 is your ultimate. I think Azumarill is insane. I think Azumarill is one of the best Pokemon in solo queue. As a all-rounder as well. It has good healing. It can play alone. You don't be afraid of fighting. And once you get 6 stacks, you're just insanely strong. If your enemies disrespect you and you get 3 stacks in the beginning of Aqua Tail, it's super crazy. Like, people sleep on Azumarill when they play solo queue. And Azumarill is a really good carrier. It's also fun to play as well. Espeon. I think Espeon is a good attacker. With the new buffs, again with the start power. I think it's super fun. I think Espeon is a B+ Pokemon. It might not have like the best movement. But if you play Stored Power, you have a lot of mobility. You can play it with X-Speed, you can play it with Double Glasses and Shellbell, for example. You can also play Psyshock. Espeon is one of the EVs that has good secure in the early game. I think Espeon is B+. Her ultimate is not the best, I think, but the ultimate also got cooldown reduced. I think Espeon is in a fine spot. When I play Espeon, I feel really powerful for the early game and the middle game. I think a lot of these Pokemon have really good early game and late game. I mean, like early game and mid game. But the late game kind of holds off. Delphox. I think Delphox is S tier. I think Delphox is one of the best Pokemon in Soloq. The only issue is why I'm not putting it in S plus is because it has a bad early game and you can get invaded. But I think if Delphox gets Power Spike, you can carry games really hard. I think one trick Delphox can carry every Soloq game. Not every Soloq game, of course, but nearly every Soloq game. Delphox is insane. It's broken. It has a low ultimate recharge as well. Pokemon with low ultimate recharge have a lot of impact because they can use their ultimates, farm again, and use ultimate again. It has a decent secure as well. Not the worst secure. And it just, like, this Pokemon is insane. You can run Body Barrier, Focus Band, Amplifier, like full defensive items, but you do a ton of damage. You can do 160k with defensive items. Delphox is just broken, in my opinion. Glaceon. I think Glaceon is A tier. I might be wrong again, but I think Glaceon is A tier. I think Glaceon is such a strong Pokemon. It can carry Soloq really hard. If you play it correctly, Icy Wind, you get it with level 4. You get your ultimate with level 8. It has a low ultimate recharge. I think Glaceon is really brutal. It used to be S+. It used to be a really high tier. But I think Espeon is, I think Glaceon is A tier. Like if you play it with Shellbell and Amplifier, you can keep your stacks with Glaceon with 7 Dark Emblems and 6 green. I think Glaceon is pretty strong. He has a great early game, level 4, level 6, level 8. Early game, mid game, into late game as well. Honestly guys, I might be biased, but I think Buzzwole is A tier. Like personally, I would put Buzzwole in A tier. I would put Buzzwole in A tier, but because it doesn't have the good secure, it might be B+. I think Buzzwole is crazy. Buzzwole does so much damage. After you get level 5, it's just ridiculous. Like in a Soloq perspective, everyone is running into you, right? No one is respecting you, and you play Soloq, and like Buzzwole is crazy strong. It deals so much damage. Honestly, like I'm down to put Buzzwole in A tier. It doesn't have the best secure, but holy, like when you play Buzzwole, it's just super fun and it's super crazy. Like it can one-shot carries easily. It can do a lot of openings. I might be wrong, but I think Buzzwole is A. I wanna keep Buzzwole for A tier. Again, you can play every ability on Buzzwole. You can play Sucker ability, you can play Superpower. I think Buzzwole is just crazy good. Because you can stack easily. And you can carry a game really hard as well. Tyranitar. I think Tyranitar is a pretty solid B+ Pokemon. If you get your Power Spike with level 9 and you keep getting levels, Tita is really strong. If you get level 14, you're almost unstoppable. Tita is one of the Pokemon that can stop Recover Shields with true damage. I think Tita is pretty solid. You can play Phantom and Dark Pulse. You can play Ancient Power and Dark Pulse. I don't really like Stone Edge that much. I think Tita is a pretty solid Pokemon. You can stack in the early game, and you can get your XP somewhere. Compared to Delphox though, which also needs level 9 to be strong, I think Delphox is just really strong compared to Tita. I think Tita is fine. It can carry a game as well. I think Tita is not the worst Pokemon. I think it's a good, solid B+ Pokemon. Not really in the A tier because its early game it's kind of weak. Mew. Mew has been in the S+ tier, S tier. Mew has been really strong. Everyone was scared of Mew. I think Mew is a solid A tier Pokemon. People might put it in the B tier because it doesn't really have a lot of impact. But I think in Soloq Mew is really strong. It can out-secure enemies easily in the landing phase. It can stack easily. It can do a tons of damage. It can support your teammates. It can secure. I think Mew is a pretty solid spot. It can also invade. I think Pokemon that can invade are also pretty fine. I think Mew is in a solid spot. I don't think Mew is bad. Soloq. I think A tier is fun. Is fair for Mew. Cypher. I think Cypher is S+. I think Cypher is the best Soloq Pokemon in the game right now. I think Sci-Fi is just ridiculously strong. After you get level 5, I think Sci-Fi is the Pokemon that I would put in this plus. It is ridiculous. It is strong. It can do everything. It can 1v9. It can one-shot any carries. I think Sci-Fi is his plus. I think it's the best Pokemon in the game for solo queue. If you play it correctly, you can nearly carry every solo queue game. I think Dialfox is as well, but Sci-Fi is a really good early game, and that's why I put it in this plus. Like, you don't even need it. Like, it also has a good secure as well, honestly. It has execute damage to a ring beat. I think Sci-Fi is crazy. Dodio. I think Dodio is also A tier. I could put Dodio in a S tier as well in this plus. Since I think Dodio is crazy strong in solo queue. But I think Dodio is like A tier, A plus tier. I don't think it's as strong as Dialfox. But if you play Dodio correctly in the early game, into mid, into late game, you can do a lot of stuff. You can even play Drill Peck, which is interesting. You can play Drill Peck in solo queue as well. Because a lot of times, enemies are not respecting the Dodio like Drill Peck. I think Dodio is a pretty good Pokemon. It's pretty good in solo queue, pretty solid. I think Dodio is really good. Solid A tier. You can also stack pretty easily with Dodio. And again, Dodio is one of the Pokemon that it can score. Like, Pokemon that can score as well are just really satisfying in solo queue. Because you want to score as much points, because you basically win by scoring, right? You can lose Rayquaza and still win games. Scizor. I think compared to Sci-Fi, Scizor is B plus tier. Is Scizor B plus? I mean, Scizor is pretty strong as well. After you get level 5, you're pretty tanky. After you get level 8, you're also pretty strong. I think Scizor is pretty good. Not sure if it's B plus. Like, Scizor can one-shot the enemy team. It has a lot of sustainability. And when you're getting ahead, you're super strong. Good early game as well. I think I'll put Scizor in the A tier as well. I think Scizor is a really good A tier as well. Gets level 5 pretty easily. Is pretty strong. Scales pretty well. Deals a ton of damage. Heals. And it's not dying. And it's super annoying. Sableye. I think Sableye is A tier in solo queue. Sableye is the cringiest Pokemon in the game. I hate this Pokemon. I think it needs to get nerfed. It's really annoying. I don't think it's S. I don't think it's S plus. I could put it in the B plus tier as well, but Sableye is such a unique playstyle that you can do anything with this Pokemon. You can invade, you can score, you can reset the enemies. Literally, like legit, you can reset your enemies into the base. You can use Confused Raid to secure stuff. Like, this Pokemon is so ridiculous. I think it's dumb. It's stupid. It should get nerfed again. I think it's A tier. Higher A tier. I think you can do a lot of stuff with Sableye. Zoroark. Zoroark is really weird. Like, Zoroark lost a lot of win rate lately. Everyone is playing Paint Attack. Night Slash got nerfed. Night Slash used to be such a strong Pokemon. It used to be even S plus. A lot of people put Zoroark in S plus. I think Zoroark is like Dodio, but a bit worse. Because Zoroark is one of the Pokemon that is really good in early game and middle game, but it falls off in late game. I think Zoroark is pretty strong. You can run both abilities. You can use Paint Attack and Shadow Claw, or you can use what's it called? Shadow Claw with, and you can use it. How's it called? I have brain lag. I haven't played Night Slash and Shadow Claw. Night Slash is honestly pretty good. Like, it's not the worst ability anymore. Like, you can still one-shot people in Pokemon. Honestly, it's pretty good. I think it's a solid A tier. Urshifu Waterstyle. I think Urshifu Waterstyle is a solid. I haven't seen it much in solo queue. I think it's fine, but I would put it B plus because it doesn't have the best secure. I think Urshifu is a really good Pokemon. It's interesting as well. It has 2 forms. You can play both abilities. I think the water form is B+, because it doesn't have the best secure. But it can one-shot the enemy carry. And a good Urshifu can do a lot of stuff with it as well. I think the red form is the last Pokemon for the tier list in the Soloq. I think the red form is also A tier. It has great secure. You can stack pretty easily. You can get level 5. You can one-shot the enemy carry. And you have also 2 damage. You have 3 damage, which is really good. You can stop enemies from scoring if they have Score Shield or Recursor Shield. I think Urshifu is A tier. Okay, sum up. I didn't put any Pokemon in C or D, even though we have it. I don't think any Pokemon is bad. I think every Pokemon has some uses in Soloq. I don't think anyone is in a really worst state. Pikachu is good, Venusaur is fine. Like honestly, like this game is kinda it's getting into a point where more Pokemon are getting balanced. A lot of Pokemon have uses. All the Pokemon are getting stronger, getting back into the game. Rapidfirescarf makes Pokemon good again. I think this is a solid tier list. Keep in mind, guys, this is only my opinion. And you can have different opinions. You can write it in the comment below if you want to. But this is my tier list. Sylveon is a crazy strong Pokemon. It's broken. It should get nerfed as well. Delphox is just crazy. I think Delphox needs a slight nerf as well. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with this tier list. Jagapult is not out in the game yet, so we can't really put it in the tier. But we put it in as plus tier for now as well. This was my tier list for the Soloq. I hope you enjoyed it. But don't forget to like and subscribe. And see you guys next time.